Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Sunyavari Askatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Sunyavari Astatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. Are you well?
Yes.
Yes, I am well. Are you well?
Well, yes. Now that I see a couple of devotees, I'm well.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Hare Krishna Bhakti Rosalind. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. For joining us again for another week. Hopefully more devotees are able to join us soon, but if not, this is always just a very nice time or a very nice way to spend our time listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll go ahead and pass it over, and I'll make sure that you can record.
Very well, so we arrived at the video conference number 33. So it's a good target. That means to be stable, and this is good. In Krishna consciousness, it's better to maintain than to create. Maintenance is goodness, create is special. Narayanam namaskritya naranchaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamutirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta praye svabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke patir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering the service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, with praise, with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we arrived at the verse 158. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, I will recite the Sanskrit because this is it's like a sentence. We arrived at Narada as a sentence. It's like a doctor, a spiritual doctor. He had his disciple, Srila Vyasadeva, who asked him, why am I dissatisfied? And today he's going to tell him definitely why. Shri Narada Vacha Bhavatanudita Prayam Yasho Bhagavato Balam Yanaiva Saunatusheta Manyeta Darshanam Kilam. Shri Narada said, you have not actually broadcast the supreme and spotless glories of the personal of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless. So, just 1 minute, just cannot be more clear than this. But some may say, why you think that other literature which doesn't deal with spirituality is worthless? Yes, it's worthless. It's useless because it gives it's made to give some pleasure, and it comes and it goes, and no intelligent person will spend his life running after things that are simply, you can say, simply worthless, because it doesn't solve any problem. There are two ways to live our life. One is just let ourselves be lived by time, or we live trying to answer some specific question. There is some sense to life, why I have to live, where I come from, where I will go. This is the questions and thoughts that an intelligent person will put to himself, and to, of course, when somebody qualified to give a final sentence, he will put it to the other person. Otherwise, we say, anybody can say what he wants. That just like last week, one devotee was here, today is not. She said, I don't want to become, how he said, he would become, don't you remember the question? It was a nice question. She said, when somebody becomes sad, depressed, she used the word depressed. The body is horrible, and that is useless, and the other one is nothing, and I become depressed because she doesn't have yet an alternative. So the alternative, it takes some time. It takes it doesn't take time. Let's say that the alternative, it takes some time to give the full result. But the immediate result should be enough for an intelligent person. Intelligent person says, I go to school, it takes some time to become a professor. In the meantime, I had to be a student, so I will tolerate to be a student, because if I'm not a student, I will never be a professor. So an intelligent person will live putting questions to himself and to others. Can you please continue, Andy?
Yes. Although, great sage, you have very broadly described the 4 principles beginning with religious performances, you have not described the glories of the Supreme Personality, Vasudeva.
Yeah. What are the 4 principles? The 4 principles is Dharma, Artha, what's the name? Dharma, Artha, Moksha is the 4th. I'm beginning Artha, Moksha, and Dharma, Kama, Moksha, and Artha. No? These are called the 4 Purushartha. Now, Dharma means to know how to live. If you know how to live, you have some pleasure. Then if you are happy, you get some economic development. So you live, because somebody who is depressed, like the devotee was saying the other week, he cannot do anything, he cannot work, he doesn't have desire to do anything. And then at the end, moksha. And moksha means liberation. Because after some time of trying to enjoy, one becomes tired and goes looking for something else. Those devotees who begin from young age are very fortunate. In old age also, it's okay, but old age means you got many, many years in this body accumulating strange ideas, bad habits, etc., etc. Beginning a young age is better. Okay, let's go on.
Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows, since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there.
This is a very important verse. Srila Prabhupada mentioned this verse very often. Nayadvachashchitra padam arirya sho jagat pavitam pagarinita karyachet tadvaya santirtam ushanti manasa nayata hamsa niramanti ushikshayaham. So this is how often people ask, well, how can I recognize a pure devotee? This is one symptom. A pure devotee talks only about Krishna, because everything else is just intolerable. It's useless. It's dirty. It doesn't receive any pleasure from there. You know. So those words do not describe the glories of the Lord. It's a place for crows. Crows do not like clean situations. Who is the other animal who always like clean places? The swans. The swans, they are white, they are beautiful. Crows are black, they are not very beautiful. So those who are pure devotees do not derive any pleasure. So please go on, 11.
On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words, directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest.
Tatvak visargo janatagavi plavo yasmin pratishlokam abadhavati api namam yanantasya yashum kitani yat shrimvanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha. Another beautiful verse. So there is something particular in this verse that it says, even though imperfectly composed, that means that somebody can find some defect in the books written by pure devotees, because a pure devotee or a spiritual master is not someone who does not make material mistakes. A pure devotee is someone who does not make spiritual mistakes. So he can write something grammatically wrong, you know, but the concept, the consciousness behind that is Krishna consciousness. And then someone who is honest, who doesn't go around looking for faults, it will not pay any attention to any mistakes, material mistakes made by pure devotees. So this literature, like Srimad Bhagavatam, is just the beauty of the beauty. There is nothing more beautiful than Srimad Bhagavatam, and we are very lucky to be discussing it, although in few of us, only 3 today, but still we are very much enjoying ourselves. Okay, let's go on to number 12.
Knowledge of self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conception of the infallible God. What then is the use of fruitive activities which are naturally painful from the very beginning and transient by nature, if they are not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord.
Yes, there is different type of self-realization. There is not only two. We know, we have spoken many times about two types of realization. One is impersonal realization, and the other one is personal realization. There are other type of self-realization, but according to Narada Muni, which is one of the highest authority in transcendental knowledge, if there is no conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or who is Krishna, where he lives, what he thinks, how he dresses, or what is his abode, what does he do with his devotees. If there are no this information, then it's not a pure devotee does not derive much pleasure. What to speak about fruitive activities? What it means, fruitive activities? This is called karma. Fruitive activities means to do something to get a result for me. This is the meaning of fruitive activities. While the devotees do not act to derive a personal profit. But he will do it just to serve Krishna, just like grieving these classes. If someone will come, say, "I just had 2 people come," maybe I should write or do something else, But we should not do classes for how many people come. We should do classes for Krishna. Krishna is happy if we talk about Srimad Bhagavatam. Who cares how many people come? So this is the concept, that we should serve with the idea of making Krishna happy. And there is no doubt that talking about Srimad Bhagavatam makes him happy. And then about the description of what fruitive activities do, we speak about that every 10 minutes. I don't need to repeat it, Naturally painful from the very beginning, transient of nature. We say this over and over. We don't need to go over again. Okay, number 13.
O Vyasa Deva, your vision is completely perfect. Your good fame is spotless. You are firm in vow and situated in truthfulness, and thus you can think of the pastimes of the Lord in trance for the liberation of the people in general from all material bondage.
Narada Muni calls Srila Vyasadeva Amoghadrik. Means that someone can see the future in a perfect way. Amogha means without mistake, and Drik is like Darshana. It's a Sanskrit verse, but differently modified, let's say, not built. So how come one verse before he was criticizing in a certain way? He was criticizing Vyasadeva, saying, "Oh, are you satisfied writing literature for the body and the mind?" And 2 verses after, he calls him Amoghadrik, telling him, "Yes, you are qualified to describe activities of the Lord," because Narada Muni knew that Vyasadeva was never confused, that whatever he did, including appearing confused, he did it for as a lila. Lila means a transcendental play, a transcendental game that Krishna wants to play. Because if Vyasadeva, if all the personalities that are in the scriptures were perfect, we just cannot refer to them because we are too different. So when we find that Srila Vyasadeva a little confused, we are confused. It doesn't matter if he's not really confused or we are really confused. We just deal with them. How you say that in English? We just can
relate.
We just can relate better because they seem like us. So it's very important. All the scriptures are made in such a way that we can relate with those personalities. Just like a few days ago, there was one devotee couple of weeks ago. An Italian devotee was saying, I read the Mahabharata, it's so sad. I feel so sad. I'm not enjoying this book at all. Yeah. Well, because he doesn't understand that the Mahabharata is a projection of us, what is the material world. He is sad because the material world is sad. And the Mahabharata presents you the material world and the system to grow and become more and more perfect. But if the Pandavas didn't do what they did, and Duryodhana and this and that, it didn't happen, we cannot relate with people who all looks perfect. So that's why the scriptures are made in such a way that sometimes they look like human, like Ramachandra losing the wife and not knowing where she is. He is Vishnu, of course, he knew. And then if Vishnu, why he let his wife being kidnapped by a demon? So if he didn't, we didn't have the Ramayana. And we didn't have nothing to discuss. We didn't have nothing to read. And we didn't, we had no teachings. So we had to learn how to read and how to understand the scriptures. So Amogadrik, you are perfect. You can tell Krishna's pastime because you know them, and you are firm in vow and situated in truthfulness, and thus you can think of the pastimes of the Lord in trance. Yeah, we cannot think of Krishna, not in trance or not trance. We cannot think of Krishna at the same level that somebody like Vyasadeva. And whatever he will see in trance, that's truth. We can close the eyes and think about Krishna is doing this or that. We don't know if it is true or not, probably not. So why we should write a scripture telling the pastime that we envision in our meditation if we are not pure devotees. But Vyasadeva was a pure devotee. And whatever he will see in trance, that's the truth. That's what was actually happened in the spiritual world. Okay, so go on, 1514. Anytime you want to ask a question, you just intervene.
Could I ask a question now?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes
Hare
to
Krishna.
Prabhupada. As far as Srila Vyasadeva, being able to see the Lord in trance, were the other scriptures written with direction? So like with the Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni came, or Narada Muni came and sort of gave him the instruction, but with like the Mahabharata and the Puranas and the Vedas, were those like instructions given to him, or was it like he was in trance, or how did those come about?
So different scriptures have different sources, historical sources. Like the original 4 Vedas were a compilation of previous knowledge, who had been spoken and taught for thousands of years. Okay, so Vyasadeva, since his first days, would listen to these stories from extremely qualified sages, and then he thought, how am I going to teach these people to the man in Kali Yuga? They will not understand this, so I'm going to arrange. That's why Vyasadeva means the arranger. I'm going to arrange the timeless knowledge of the Veda in such a way that they will be able at least to come closer to this knowledge. And even that knowledge, we have a lot of difficulty understanding it, and even reading it. devotees have a hard time to finish the Bhagavatam. I know devotees who have been devotees for 30 years and they have not read the whole Bhagavatam, you know. So, because we are very lazy, very, very lazy. And this is one of the worst defects in Kali Yuga. So anyway, Vyasadeva said, even if the people is lazy, it's not that everybody will always be lazy. There will be somebody at least qualified to go over the Rig Veda, the Samaveda, Tarva Veda. There will be sacrifices. And also Kali Yuga is not a block, you know. Kali Yuga begins in a certain way and then becomes degraded and then it goes up again. But during this time, there is always some good Brahmana, some person who can understand the Vedas. And so about the Mahabharata, Vyasadeva simply knew the story. He could see the story and he just told it. Okay, not only, but also he wrote something by his own intelligence. So everything that happened in the Bhagavata was a chrono story told by Vyasadeva. And the same in the Ramayana. Actually, the Ramayana was not written by Vyasadeva at all. It was written by Valmiki Muni. And so, and even in the Purana, they were told by different sages, you know, and then Vyasadeva again put them in a certain way. So about the Srimad Bhagavatam, and especially the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that was written in trance, because it was just a thinking to Krishna what happened, you know, while they were in this world at the same time. You know, the pastimes in Vrindavan, the pastime, Vyasadeva was not physically present, but in trance he could see, just like he could see them in the what happened in the Mahabharata. He was not there the whole time. In trance he could see everything and told the stories. So different scriptures and different sources, you know, and so we have them. Okay, is it clear or?
Yes, and like an extension of the question was just being like, how, I mean, yeah, if you could maybe elaborate on like how what he was seeing in trance could be considered like authorized, how we can know like this is really what happened.
Well, the main point of our philosophy is about authority. We have three types of authority. One is the guru, your guru, personal guru. Then you have the scriptures, and then you have the sadhu. So we have no way to know if this is authorized or not. It's just authority of somebody you trust. How do you know that Baby Crockett actually existed? How do you know? There are no pictures, there are no videos, there is nothing. The only way you know is that there are scriptures. Somebody wrote. And if you go in the, of course, the United States are not very old in terms of history, but in Europe, and even more in Asia, we have a history of millions of years. And Jesus Christ, who knows if he existed? Maybe he didn't exist at all. It was just a story invented by somebody because it was good to have a religion, and then it became popular. We don't know, but we accepted that he existed just on the basis of authority. Do we accept Vyasadeva is real? Do we accept that he wrote the Bhagavatam in trance? We do accept because our guru said so. Our guru is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He said it's true. If we believe him, we proceed. If we don't believe, we are stuck and we don't go anywhere. because this trust in authority is the only way. Just like, how do you know that your father is your father? How do you know? Your mother told you. And that's the only authority. Who else was there? Nobody was there. It was just your father, your mother. Your mother said, he is your father, and you accept. It's a blind faith. You don't have any proof, any evidence, but you accept it on the basis of trust or an authority. So that's how we proceed in our spiritual life, trusting Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. Of course, just to conclude, of course, there will be another evidence when you will be a pure devotee. You will be able maybe to see in the past, or maybe you will be able to envision in trance Vyasadeva telling stories to Ganesh. And Ganesh write in the Bhagavatam, write in the Mahabharata. At the present moment, anything that regards your life is based on authority. What do you teach? You teach English?
Yes.
So you are teaching something that you don't know. You read books. You had professors. That's how you know English. Maybe 100 years ago, the word was different, but you read on the book that this word is this, table is table, and maybe table was called something else, but your professor said, no, it's table, and the book says it's table. So yes, you accept. You have no other choice. Bhakti Rosalind?
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, going back to the beginning to verse text number 8, where it says that philosophy that does not satisfy the Lord is considered worthless. And combining that with something further along in verse 12, where it is explained that fruitive activities are transient in nature.
Yeah.
So these things that are worthless are transient in nature. The material world is transient in nature. Maya is transient in nature. But what about the pastimes of the Lord? Because we read about them and as something that happens at some period in time. What makes them not temporary?
Well, for two reasons. First of all, the result that you get from meditating in this pastimes, in these activities, are eternal. It's just a benefit. It's the same like if you were there. So the quality and the potency of give you spiritual result is unchanged. It's always the same. And the second is that according to Shastra, the pastimes of Krishna, they are eternal. That means that they are happening somewhere else. Sometimes same, sometimes with most of the time with a little difference. But basically, Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill didn't happen only one time. So did you understand these two reasons? One, the benefit you get is the same forever, everybody. Those who saw it and those who will meditate 1,000 years after, 5,000 years, it's the same. Just like the electricity, if you get a cable long 1 mile, of course there is no cable long 1 mile. It's pieces of cable. But it doesn't matter if the electricity, if you connect to the electricity, to the main power, And if you get to the electricity 1 mile after, the potency will be the same. It's no difference. You know? So if you see the pastime of Krishna, or you meditate on the pastime of Krishna, 5,000 years after, there is no difference. And second, this pastime, they repeat themselves.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Maharaj.
Okay, so do we go on?
I can't raise my hand. I'm using my work computer.
Yeah, you just intervene. It just, we are few,
Okay.
No problem.
Okay. I had a question about the stuck part. So you said, like, if our guru is saying something and we're still not accepting it, then we get stuck.
Yeah.
What is causing the being stuck? Does it have to do with intelligence? I'm assuming it's probably multiple things. So what can be the cause of us being stuck?
We get stuck because we don't have any other way of ascertaining if this thing is true or not. If you don't accept the word of your mother, you are stuck. You will never love your father because you don't believe that he is your father. How do you know that he is your father? So you're stuck. And if you don't accept your professor, you don't accept the books, you're stuck. You can't be a teacher because you don't accept what you are supposed to teach. So this action, it's not the right word. This beginning dynamic of finding the right authority, which is the guru. First of all, is the guru. No? We accept Srila Prabhupada, that's why we are reading Shastra. First, the guru. Someone told you, look, he's a guru, he's bona fide. Then you take his books and say, let's see what it says. And then it makes sense. It makes sense from the logical point of view. It makes sense from the point of view of heart. Something is telling you that this is good. Of course, there are also people who accept masters of books which are not authentic at all. Well, they are unfortunate, what can we say? But surely our spiritual life began from the moment we accepted Srila Prabhupada as a guru and his books as his Shastra. Otherwise, yes, you are stuck. You don't go anywhere.
Thank you. 14, I think we are.
Yes, 14.
Okay. Whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names, and results to agitate the mind as the wind agitates a boat which has no resting place.
Oh, this is exactly what we were talking about 10 seconds ago. I didn't remember there was this verse because otherwise I would have let you. If you don't trust and you try to ascertain a truth by your mind, then you think, just like a boat agitated by the wind, and there is no, and it just goes here and there because there's no resting place. There is no place where you can hook because you don't trust. You don't trust the guru, you don't trust the Shastra, you don't trust the sadhu. So then everything depends on your mind. But how are you going to know? Again, excuse me if I repeat, maybe it's not a nice example. You're never going to know who is your father. The only way is your mother. So we have And everything in this world depends on authority. So, yes. Yeah, this is very clear. There's no need other words. Let's go to the 15. Unless you want to, you just intervene. You just tell me.
Okay, we can keep going.
Yeah.
The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of religion. This is virulently condemned and is quite unreasonable. Because they are guided under your instructions, they will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions.
Again, Narada Muni goes back. Before, 2 days ago, he called him a Mogadrik, someone who can see the future perfectly. Amoga means perfectly. And now he's saying, what did you do? Of course, we know that there are 2 Naradas and there are 2 Vyasadeva. There are one Narada who has the duty to criticize somebody who did something wrong, and the other Narada who understands that Vyasadeva didn't do anything wrong, that he was guided by the Supreme Personality of God, because he needed somebody to write those kind of literature. Because if somebody wants to enjoy, and you tell them, no, you go to hell, and you don't give them any gradual path to perfection, you are going to destroy this person. You are going to destroy him. Still, he has to say that it is a wrong path. But again, let me repeat, repetition sometimes bore people, but it's good to repeat. You tell them this is bad, but at the same time, you encourage them to go in a gradual path. But if you don't tell them that this path is not good in itself, that just is good because it brings you somewhere else, then you get confused. And Narada Muni says, okay, between parentheses, you have written the Vedas for those who want to enjoy in this material world, and then you have done something regrettable, close the parenthesis, but you are a perfect seer. You are qualified to describe the Lord's activities. So 2 Naradas and 2 Vyasadeva, 2 different situations. This is very important to understand. Otherwise, we get confused. Oh, Narada, one verse you say something, the other verse you say something else. You get confused. Bhakti Rosalind?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. I'm a little confused because at times you have explained that instead of material enjoyment, we should focus on spiritual enjoyment, to enjoy the pastimes of the Lord. But is it not possible to enjoy our spiritual life and at the same time find our material life to be enjoyable or satisfying, or must all of that type of enjoyment totally be left behind? And is it necessary to suffer?
It depends very much. There is no one answer to this question. One has to have a very deep vision to understand when it's the right moment to tell somebody to give everything up. Doesn't matter if he's going to suffer for years or decades. But you see that after the suffering, he will achieve liberation, or you tell somebody to give everything up, and he becomes enemy of transcendental knowledge, because he thinks I'm not able. Why you are pushing me to do something that I will never be able to do? So we don't want to make people enemies. You know? At the same time, we don't want to say to somebody who is capable with some effort, with some discomfort, maybe for years. But if you are able to see that he will make it, then you don't tell them go and enjoy something because you are harming this person. So who is going to decide this? That's a big responsibility. That sometimes some spiritual master is not able to accept, and he will say, "Oh, do what you want," because I don't want the responsibility of your life. And Srila Prabhupada was another type of guru. Srila Prabhupada said something terrible. If you read these books, there is no way. And the way we live in the spiritual life, either we would give everything up and sleep on the floor, etc., or we were not devotees, basically. Now, when I go to Facebook, I cannot stay more than 10 seconds. Seeing this so-called devotees with spiritual names, with hairs and beards, with girls and girls with spiritual name in shorts, and this. What is this? What the heck is this? This is not our movement. This is not spiritual life. This is something else. Yeah, so you don't need to have a spiritual name. It's better you continue call yourself Bhakti Mary, and everybody likes you because you're Mary. You're a beautiful girl. Go enjoy your life and come back when you want to do something better than disturb brahmacharis. But maybe somebody has a different view. Maybe somebody thinks that our movement should become a leader. I don't. I think that our movement should be as it's always been. Everybody who wants to do something is welcome, not inside. We should have an inside and an outside. Inside, we should be like Srila Prabhupada wanted. And a little outside, that we can have people with some strange things, dressed in. They look like arbol de, ¿cómo se dice? How you say in English?
Desire tree?
No,
a lumberjack?
No, those trees that we do during Navidad. How you say the English? Christmas tree.
Christmas tree.
Oh.
They
Decorated.
Decoration, the women. I saw a devotee with a spiritual name, with a lipstick, I thought, what is this? I never saw the Vaishnava with a lipstick.
I see. So, Maharaj, is it that once we develop our desire for the transcendental pleasure, that little by little we will stop desiring those material pleasures and we will be able to let them go? And does that mean that will be a suffering, or is there a transition in which we will just do this naturally and it will not seem like such a suffering?
What will happen is it's like you will not desire it anymore. It's not that you let them go, like goodbye with a little tear. No, you don't care anymore. It's very natural. It's very natural. And at the beginning, you need some effort, and after slowly but slowly, gradually. In the past, our great acharya, they were not gradual. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us to be merciful. So we give initiation to people who are not actually qualified. We know that they are not qualified, they do something wrong. We know that they are doing something wrong, that they will do something wrong also after initiation. But it's a risk that we have to take, because they will help them. Because the moment that somebody chooses spiritual master, he creates a bond with the parampara. And this bond is something, even the most sinful devotee or ex-devotee, this bond never goes away. I've seen this for decades. Even my brother was Prabhupada's disciple also, and Raya Ramadas, and he was a good devotee. So he was younger than me. He was 16, I was 18. So, but he stayed in a temple for 2 years. He got initiated, etc. And after he fell down, and he fell down badly. Anything that you can imagine, he did. And then he died because of disease caused by alcohol and drugs, and who knows what else. So, but still, when you would go and talk to this very sinful ex-devotee, apparently, after seconds, immediately you have the realization that he never forgot Krishna consciousness. He never forgot it. Because the bond caused by initiation with Srila Prabhupada is always there.
Thank you. It's very encouraging to see this transition as something that can flow naturally, because of course everyone is afraid of being asked to do something that they don't want to do. So
yeah, my criticism is that the transition must be there, but it should have a sense. One thing is I transition and still I like a little of this, a little of that. And another thing is behaving externally like a clown. There should be some restraint, something must be there. And that is my criticism.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so we are almost 1 hour. Let's read a couple of verses. And then,
So 16.
16.
The Supreme Lord is unlimited. Only a very expert personality, retired from the activities of material happiness, deserves to understand this knowledge of spiritual values. Therefore, those who are not so well situated due to material attachment should be shown the ways of transcendental realization by your goodness through descriptions of the transcendental activities of the Supreme Lord. I feel like we were just talking about this too.
Yeah, today is the day that we talk something, and the next verse says exactly this. So, until you are not very advanced, your understanding is very limited. It doesn't mean that you don't understand anything. Krishna consciousness is not all or nothing. It's very much gradual. There is a lot of degrees of gray between white and black. So in a perfect way, only those who give everything away. The others, they should be helped gradually, and there should be some understanding, some restraint. You like this, okay, do it, but don't go to, to this gay parades, like I have an almost disciple. I was supposed to initiate him. And he was homosexual. I knew that he was homosexual. But then he said I went to this gay thing, how you call it? The gay pride. The gay pride. And he dressed himself like an idiot. And I said, no, you cannot take initiation like this. You are homosexual, I know. Okay, but have some dignity. Don't get no. You have to stop this, otherwise I will never initiate you, and you're still not initiated. So again, we had to show the ways of transcendental realization. There is no all or nothing. We don't say that. But even in the graduality, there should be some expert guidance how to be gradual. All right, so let's read the next verse, maybe a couple of verses more, and then we either close or something.
One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there is no danger of his being unsuccessful.
Yes.
On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything.
I should just shut up and read, because the Bhagavatam is saying what I'm saying. Or no, I am saying what the Bhagavatam says. I just say it 10 seconds before. Yes. If you try and you fail, you don't think that you wasted your time. It's there. It's good. It's just try to not exaggerate, because you can fall 1 meter down or you can fall 10 meters down. 10 meters down, it takes more time to recover because your intelligence becomes so stupid that it will take time to recover your intelligence and becoming intelligent again. So are you attached to something that's human? Okay? That's we know, but learn how to proceed, not to go too far away. Sometimes you fell down while in a mature stage. That's okay. Well, it's not okay. It's understandable, but you will be successful eventually. While those who say no, I can make it, forget about Krishna, I go back to my life, then he goes back to uselessness. Because he should stay on the course. And the course is not so difficult. We are not fanatics. We don't cut heads if someone does something wrong. Vaishnavas are very gentle and kind people, and we understand human nature. Just this morning, I was reading horrible things. There was this young girl that she was a Pakistani, and she was a star in TikTok at the time. I don't even know what is TikTok. Should be something like Facebook, maybe. Anyway, she was big, so his brother did not tolerate that her sister would dress in a way so different, and he killed her, and he cut her head, just because he said this is not our religion. This is completely nonsensical, has no sense whatsoever. There is no human logic, of course, there's no spiritual logic, it does not make sense. Only a demon can think like that. If your sister has some material desire, let her do, because she will be eventually she will become dissatisfied of what she is doing, and then she will come back and say, maybe my spiritual life, if that religion was spiritual, I tasted some pleasure in my religion, and this life is just tasteless. I will go back. And this is the way of spiritual realization. Krishna does not destroy we souls because we didn't want to stay with them. We said, okay, you don't want me, go in the material world. And the Pakistani should have done the same thing. Okay, you don't want religion, okay, go your way. He should just do what Krishna did and be educated in the right way. Sometimes we have to let people go and telling them our arms are always opened. Doesn't matter what you do, what you don't do. When you come back, we are here embracing you again. This is Krishna consciousness. Okay, so last verse, then we try to answer to some other question. If there are otherwise, we go in our own way. Number 18.
Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, Patala. Patala. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries, even though we do not desire them.
Yeah, Pakistani brother, let her do. She will enjoy something. And then in due course of time, she will attain misery. Because this is how the world is. You don't need to cut her head, the poor girl, She will come back. If you are able to give her a real spirituality, she will come back. If you are not able, if your religion is miserable, I'm not saying that. History, I don't know anything about that religion. So, but if your alternative is miserable, she will not come back, because miserable, then, at least I'm free. So, so enjoyment and suffering are just one package in the material world. You know that depending from your karma, you can have some enjoyment and some suffering. How much enjoyment? Well, nobody knows, depending on your karma. Maybe you enjoy 60% and then suffer 40%, or vice versa. Maybe you enjoy 80% and suffer 20%, depends very much. And this is automatic. It depends from your karma, it depends from your consciousness. But those who are actually intelligent, Narada Muni is saying to Narada Muni, and philosophically inclined. What means a philosophically inclined? That they are inclined to live according to I said that for even the last week I didn't find, to analysis. That is not the word I want to say. Discrimination. According to discrimination. I am not going to do something because I like it. I'm going to do something if, since my spiritual master and my books said what is right, what is wrong, if this is right for me. Just like you may like some wine, but you know that it's wrong. I think my brother died because of alcohol. So you know that it's wrong. Doesn't matter. Someone says, little bit is not harmful. Little bit is little harmful. Doesn't exist as something that in the little quantity is not harmful. So, so philosophically inclined, they said, I'm going to live in according of my discrimination. This is philosophically inclined. And those who are very intelligent will endeavor to obtain pure devotion for Krishna. This is so okay. I think we finish here. If there are questions, this is going to be the shortest class in history. If there is some other question or subject you want to discuss here, otherwise we go.
Hare Krishna. I feel like it helped that we were able to answer the questions while reading. That it was nice. Maybe that's why the class is a little shorter. But yes. Even though we've spoken about like fruitive activities every 10 minutes, the phrasing for the one at the very beginning today was a little different, where it said like naturally painful. I don't remember hearing it spoken that way. So could you elaborate on like the naturally painful?
Yeah. we are souls. So our quality, a desiring, is one of our natural quality, longs for the things, even if he doesn't know, even if he doesn't remember, longs for spiritual things. But since he doesn't remember, he doesn't know what is spiritual, what is wrong, and in this material world, things appear similar to spiritual things, he tries to get them, okay? He tries to get them, and then he realized that this is not what I was looking for. It's not, it's already finished. You know, I enjoyed it a little bit, you know. It seems really stupid as a type of enjoyment, but I enjoyed a little bit, and then it's finished. And next time you have to try to enjoy it again. Every day you have to. So this system of spiritual desire trying to satisfy his necessity of happiness with things that are not spiritual, you know, it's naturally painful. It's naturally painful because you are trying to be happy with something that cannot make us happy. Now, while I'm speaking, I'm trying to figure some example. Sometimes examples, simple examples are, you know, make us understanding things more. Well, it's like, maybe I can do a stupid example. It just came up, you know. If I like pizza and I don't get your pizza, but you do for me a little wooden thing with a white thing and red, etc. You give it to me and I try to eat it. That's miserable. It looks like pizza and I wanted pizza, but that is not pizza. And so I'm miserable. So why is naturally painful? Because a desire of pizza without getting the real pizza, this dynamic is naturally painful. And so you need the real thing. Maybe it's a stupid example, but it's the only one I can come up with right now. And I think in the spiritual world, there is nothing, there is no pain. You know, next Saturday in the Spanish class, I'm going to repeat. One devotee told me of one question he received, and I gave an answer. I was not satisfied with the answer I gave. So I'm going to answer again to this question. And the concept basically is that to live in a certain world, you had to be qualified to be that way. If you want to be happy, you have to be spiritual. You have to live in the spiritual world. You cannot be happy being material and living in the material world. It's just unnatural. It's just naturally painful, this situation. Okay. All right, back in Rosalind.
Hare Krishna again, Guru Maharaj. I'm a little curious about, for you to speak a little more, because there are three modes of material nature, right? Ignorance, passion, and the mode of goodness. I'm worried that I get stuck in the mode of goodness. Can we talk about how dangerous the mode of goodness is? My concept of it being when everything seems to be going your way and everything's fine, you're not having any problems. Is that the mode of goodness? And what is the danger in the mode of goodness?
Yes. When everything is okay in your life and you are a good person and you are kind and you are clean and you are gentle, and you are intelligent, and you are this, and you are that. It comes a certain type of satisfaction. It's not the burning satisfaction of rajas and tamas, like eating things and having sex and drugs and alcohol. That's tamas, or in certain situation it can be rajas. But those things are very, very inferior, very dirty. So, and you cannot really feel good with yourself unless you don't live clean in a clean way. But devotion, it is on another level. Devotion is not you being satisfied, but Krishna being satisfied of you. And this is most probably the problem, the greatest problem that the devotee deals with, that when they arrive in Krishna consciousness, they are just derelicts, everything is wrong. So after some time, chanting Hare Krishna, going to the temple, being vegetarian, etc., they feel to be important. They look in the mirror, oh, look at this, my dhoti, my sari, my tilak, look how beautiful. I look like an angel, and now I'm not Rosalind anymore. I am whatever Devidasi will be. And it comes a certain type of pride, which is not bad, but it could be bad. It could become bad. It depends how much you are using it for yourself and how much you use it to go in Krishna consciousness. There is one very nice story. Finally, I remember something that Srila Prabhupada told. I don't have to invent stupid stories myself. Like one day there was one mouse, and the mouse was chased by the cat. And so he went to a great yogi and said, oh, there is this cat who is chasing me. So please make me a dog so I can chase the cat. He said, okay, he recited the mantra and he became a dog. And then after some time, there was a bigger dog chasing him. So he went again to the great yogi and said, there is a bigger dog and I want to become, I don't remember what, a lion or a tiger or something. And he said, okay, be a tiger. He became a tiger. So then he became a tiger and he said, now I'm a tiger. I think I can eat the yogi now. So he attacked the yogi and the yogi said, oh, you think that your power is due to you. You have forgotten that I gave you this power. So Punna Mushiko Bhava. Punna Mushika. Mushika in Sanskrit means rat, means a mouse. Go back being a mouse. So after some time in Krishna consciousness, especially if we live in big temples and we become important, we become president, we become big chairs, and we start to become important, we forget that we were just people walking in the street. Nobody was even looking at us, And after some time, I say, no, now I have to enjoy my position. And you become to mistreat the other devotees, the people, etc. And Krishna will tell you, if you are not going to use in the right way the power that he gave you, Punna Mushiko Bhava, go back in the street, with your old car that got burned in the middle of nowhere, and you are there under the sun, Texas sun, trying to stop some other car, miserable life. And you go back to miserable life because Krishna will give you power. You become important. You will become like an angel, being able to talk to 1,000 people, etc. But if you forget that this is only due to Krishna consciousness and not to your capacity, then you may fall down. And this is one of the reasons why so many devotees, unfortunately, fall down. In Srila Prabhupada, there was one verse talking about people falling down. And Prabhupada also talks about sometimes devotees come in our movement and this and that, and after some time they fall down. Why they fall down? This is one of the reasons. They have forgotten that their power comes from Krishna. So they have to use it for Krishna.
Maharaj, sometimes it is said that that is much easier for us to be spiritual when we're suffering than when we're in a good life. And so often this makes me question to the person who has reincarnated because they've been good, they've gotten a nice reincarnation into a family of devotees, perhaps. And then everything is going so nicely for them that they take everything for granted and they fall down. And I wonder how anybody can get back to Godhead if every time they're so satisfied, they tend to fall. And only when they're suffering, they tend to strive for liberation. And I hope I'm not like that. I hope I will strive for liberation in all circumstances. But it seems a very interesting situation.
No, you can never go back to Godhead with suffering. You never. Only with pure devotion. Suffering is what gives you the capacity to put your foot in the first, the first thing of a ladder, the first step of a ladder. And,
the first rung of the ladder.
Rung of a ladder. Wrong of a ladder, yes. Not that you go to Krishna because you suffer. Otherwise, let's do like certain Christian monk did, that they would slash it, like this. Now, this is total nonsense. This is total nonsense. You don't go anywhere with suffering. Suffering, it makes you hate God, not
well,
hate.
I thought it made us remember him or strive for him, whereas someone who is in doing well sometimes can become complacent and forget about God. I guess that is the point of.
Yeah, that may happen, but the not suffering or being in trouble makes you. You will arrive to the point again. Like if you are a great devotee and then you fall down, you suffer, and then you go back to Krishna consciousness, but you begin again. It's not that now you are better than before. You are the same. At the best, you are the same than before. Normally, those who fall down and come back, they are not even like before. They are much less than before. No? Because they think, oh, I am a senior devotee. Now I don't have. While in the beginning of the spiritual life, they would accept to clean pots or clean bathroom. But then they become big devotees. Como you say, comillas, no? Entre comillas, quote unquote, big devotees. They fall down, and after when they come back, oh, I was a big devotee. I don't need to clean bathroom. You are go back where you can. You are not understood anything. You're not understood that washing pots for Krishna can be better for you for the entirety of your life. Because when you wash pots, there is no pride. You never think I am great. Krishna is great. You're not great. You're great if Krishna gives you the possibility to do a service with some of his greatness. He makes you great because he thinks that you utilize it for service. So we suffered, we arrived to Krishna consciousness in the wrong of the latter. Okay? But you don't go directly with Krishna.
Okay, That's a very satisfactory answer to me. It rests my mind. Thank you.
Okay, so if there is any other questions or topic to discuss, otherwise we close it here. Okay, so I just want, yes?
Mahar, I just wanted to wish Cassandra and Isvari Devi Dasi happy birthdays today. That's all.
Why, Cassandra? Is
Her
birthday of
birthday,
Cassandra today?
yes. And Isvari Devi Dasi, yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yes.
I knew of Ishwari, of course. No,
Her birthday's today?
Yes, it
Ishwari,
is.
Ishwari is today.
Oh,
They
wow.
they share the same birthday.
Wow.
Andy, yes.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
yeah. Well, write her a message on WhatsApp, and she will be happy
Yeah.
that you remember.
I have written to her and I will call her at some point also.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Yes, normally we don't do a big thing about birthday, only for spiritual masters or avatars, etc. Because we are not this body, you know. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but at the same time, we are happy that a Vaishnava is born.
Yes.
So
we appreciate them. We really
we
appreciate both of
appreciated
them.
that they has taken birth, so we can associate with them and etc. etc. But we don't really think that is the birthday, because the soul is never born and never there. You see how sometimes just a little detail can make the same thing good or bad. Okay.
Yes.
That brings me to a question just related to what we just talked about right now with how I mean, maybe this will, I'll ask it anyways, how in like the beginning, I guess, so if Krishna's the original, the origin of all creation, was there a time when it was just Krishna and then he expanded himself and then that's when we all came?
Yeah, no, there was not a single time in the creation when Krishna was alone. There was a time when Brahma was alone, but not Krishna. Everything that is in the spiritual world is eternal and eternally manifest. So we cannot think of Krishna like the beginning of creation where Krishna was alone. He said, okay, better I create something because I'm getting bored. No, this is not the right meditation. Everything that is in the spiritual world is eternal. Sometimes somebody is not there, but the spiritual world is there. Like we are not there. Unfortunately, we are here wasting our time. And then we are not in the spiritual world. And we should go to the spiritual world so that we have an eternal life, a very happy life, full of knowledge, and make a stop this identification with material bodies. But Krishna is never alone. We know that Lord Brahma is not the creator of the universe. Brahma is the builder of the universe. Because creation means from nothing. And Brahma did not create the universe from nothing. He was given the material elements, and with those, he created. He did a great job because it's very complicated. It's not just 8 planets circling the sun. It's way more complicated. They will never be able to understand how complicated it is. They means the scientist, you know. And but the material elements were given to him. So Brahma is the creator. That's why he is the avatar of Rajaguna, because he creates. Doing something is Rajaguna. Maintaining it's Sattva Guna, and Vishnu maintain the universe. While Lord Shiva, he destroys the universe. So he is the avatar Tamoguna.
Thank you very much. This was a very, very sweet and nice class.
It's okay. I mean, as many people will see. Sometimes these classes, very few people come. Unfortunately, it pains me, actually, I have to say. And what is Cassandra anyway?
We're here at a friend's, so it's
Ah.
yeah. So we're devotees right now.
With devotees?
Yes.
Really? Oh, okay. And but after this video conference are seen by sometimes even 100 people. So, and they will be always there forever. So it's okay, although I would like to see more people. Okay, so I will finish encouraging all of you to go visit our library and Ishvara.org is here, and of course to read my books. That's why I write them. I write them so everybody reads them. I don't write them so that nobody read them. And what else to say? Basically, that's it. Okay. Thank you very much, though. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Haribo.
Hare
Jaya
Krishna.
Gurudev.
All
Haribo.
glories to Srila
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Jai Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Andy Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, happy birthday. How is Cassandra Mataji?
Yeah, thank you.